Hey, Steve, did you turn off the noise cancellation for the stream? Happy Sunday, everybody. When you're down in trouble and you need some love and care, and no, nothing is going right. Just close your eyes and think of me. Soon I will be there to brighten even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You got a friend above you, just dark and full of cloud, and that old north wind begins to blow. Keep your head together, call my name out loud, and soon I'll come knocking upon your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You got a friend, isn't it good to know that you got a friend? You got a friend. You got a friend. Let's welcome our friend Michael Flanders on the saxophone. Michael Flanders. And welcome Reverend Caroline. Good to see you again. Thanks for being here. And these two are together. So I feel especially in the middle of the love today. Yeah, I am. Right.
So welcome, everyone. We want to welcome you dearly to our beautiful service we have going on here. My name is Paul Calabro, and I'm your practitioner of service for today. It's a pleasure and an honor to be up here for you today. And, you know, every Sunday I'm just like, this is amazing, amazing place. The music, and now we have a saxophone player. What? Give him a hand again. Yeah, everybody. So it's so awesome, you know, to be here, and now like we're in like the summertime and the heat and stuff, you know, and especially right now I'm thinking, wow, it's so hot outside. And just about a month ago, people were complaining how cloudy it was, and like, you know, the June gloom and everything. And I was just sitting back. I was like, wait till July, just wait till July. And now it's really hot. So, but you know, whatever weather the weather is going on right now, you know, that it's how's the weather in your consciousness, right? How are you doing? Is it cloudy? Is it sunny? Is it hot? Is it exciting? You know, whatever it is, and wherever you are, you know, you're welcome here in our beloved spiritual community. And so let us now begin by invoking that spirit to set the mood, to bring us to a sense of peace and love. And if you like, you can close your eyes. If not, that's fine too. And let us start with a prayer to invoke this presence of love. And so let us just simply breathe in and just feel that presence of the divine that is always with us and guiding us and protecting us. Knowing that that presence of the divine is pure love, pure intelligence. Knowing that we can gather and rest in that wholeness and that peace as we prepare to listen to the talk today by Reverend Caroline, the music by Lee, Michael, and Jim. So for we are here gathered in a sacred space, and we open up to that presence of life that soothes us and guides us to a greater sense of clarity, a greater sense of love, where we experience this choiceless awareness, this intelligence, this beauty of the silence, that silence that we can almost touch. For it is here now in this moment. I give thanks for this congregation, for the love that is shared between all of us today on this sacred, blessed Sunday. And so I release this prayer to that infinite mind of God, knowing that it says yes. I call it forth into being by letting it be so. And so it is. And so the reading was picked today in alignment with this thing called freedom, how we're celebrating the freedom this month. And what came to me was a quote written by a man named Viktor E. Frankl. And as I'm sure you know, he was a prisoner in Auschwitz, and he wrote a book called Man's Search for Freedom. And I think it really speaks well to the message today that wherever we are, we can find this sense of freedom, this space, regardless of what the situation is. You know, that it's not so much just about the happy thoughts and stuff, but if we go deep and go down into that presence, we can gain that sense of freedom and a sense of happiness. And so the quote reads, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Viktor E. Frankl. And now in the space of love, let us simply just go into what we do here normally every Sunday, which is the metta practice, which means the loving kindness meditation. It's just a beautiful way to send out our loving energy to not only ourselves, the people we care about the most in the world. It's a fun little practice. And if you like, you can recite what I say to yourself or even to the room, to all of us here. And we'll start by bringing our awareness to ourselves, to the love for ourselves first, by reciting, "May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. May I be happy." And now let us bring to mind someone we love dearly. And it really doesn't have to be that person that we love dearly and that is closest to our hearts. You can also bring to mind someone that you see maybe perhaps once a month, or maybe just a random person that perhaps you see at the grocery store or at the gas station. You can also bring to mind an animal, a pet. You can bring to mind a bear. You can bring to mind a bird, or even a tree. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. May you be happy. And now from there, let us take us as a whole, as a congregation, as a planet, as a community, as the earth itself, every one of us here gathered today, and in all churches, in all countries. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be well. May we be happy. And so now, let us now go into a meditation practice as Lee rings the bowl. And we'll sit for about 3 minutes just to bring that into our experience now. Peace and blessings. And so it is.
Here's one of my original songs that goes along with that zoom out meta perspective, I guess. It's a glorious day on the planet I love. Let me tell you what I'm thinking of. 'Cause I've been wondering why it was. But it's just life doing what it does. We keep trying to mess it up. They keep trying to bring us down. So I'm just gonna smile at everything around. 'Cause I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. And it's a glorious day on the planet I love. Especially with that saxophone. Don't tell me about someday, somehow. 'Cause all we need is right here, right now. I've got some rhythm and I got some rhyme, yeah. I got my music and I got my mind. We were sinking in circles, imprisoned in the past. No, I'm just gonna be, and I'm free at last. 'Cause I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. And it's a glorious day on the planet I love. Michael, what you got? Because there's children playing somewhere. How's life on Jupiter? I don't care, oh no. 'Cause we've got lovers just laying there. Yeah. Well, I'm no hero, I'm not brave. I'm just tired of being afraid. 'Cause I've been wondering why it was. But it's just life doing what it does. And I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. We've got to rise above that old push and shove. 'Cause I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. Oh, yes, we do. And it's a glorious day on the planet I love. Whoa, whoa, such a glorious day now. Whoa, 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 it's a glorious day. Whoa, whoa, it's a glorious day. It's such a glorious day on the planet I love. It's a glorious day on the planet I love. It's a glorious day on the planet we love. Thank you, Michael Flanders. Amazing. And please welcome the other half, Reverend Caroline, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to those of you joining us on Facebook too today. What a special treat. How wonderful to see so many faces from over the years coming back today. How lovely. I'm just gazing upon all of you. I had the privilege of being here last week, and we engaged in a really insightful exploration of the topic of freedom. So we continue that, and how wonderful it is to be free and to enjoy this air conditioning today, isn't it? We know Reverend Dr. Guy is on a well-deserved, long-awaited sabbatical. And so we recognize that that is his observation of Sabbath. So my invitation to each of us here today is to think of this time as a time that is just for you. This is your Sabbath. This is your time to rest, receive rejuvenation, and hopefully spiritual nourishment while we're all together today. Last Sunday, we explored this idea of freedom, and we came to the conclusion, and just this knowledge that we all share, that freedom is a God-ordained quality, something for all of us to know that we have and to engage in it and enjoy it. In science of mind and spirit, we consider that freedom is preordained. Dr. Holmes, what he was really talking about, Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind and the author of the text, explained to us that freedom is really our volition, right? It's our freedom of choice, our free will. In fact, all of the world religions, if we look into them, have a teaching around this, that we have, by our divine right, freedom of choice and free will. Now, in Science of Mind and Spirit, those of us who've been around the teaching for a while, we know that we're very fond of saying, change your thinking and change your life. If you've heard that before, say it with me one time. But what does that really mean, right? What does it mean to engage our beliefs when we're going through a time of life that feels challenging? Can't just wish it away. It's something that we must walk through. But Dr. Holmes, he got ahead of that, and he gave us in the What We Believe statements, he said, we believe the ultimate goal of life is to be completely free from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. But he took it a little bit further, and Dr. Holmes also asserted, we believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. So it's not just my mind or your mind, it is the mind of God. It is the goodness of the divine with which we find ourselves in alignment with through our daily spiritual practices and intentionally cultivating that relationship. That we can use this power of the mind to literally change our world, to change our personal conditions. Back in the day, like maybe around the mid-'80s, anybody here part of Science of Mind around the 80s? So you remember, it was really kind of a teaching where, we could wish for things, right? And we knew that, if something happened to us, it was because we weren't thinking the right way, right? That was something that people used to think, like it was literal. That there was some people among us that felt like any negative conditions in our life were because we were thinking of something that brought it on. And you know what? There's still some people today that kind of think of it that way. And yet we look around us and we see so much going on in the world, let alone our own personal lives. A good friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, told me about the time that he first found his way to the Science of Mind teaching. And I'm going to change his name for the sake of anonymity. Let's call him Bert. Like Ernie and Bert. Let's call him Bert. So Bert and his beautiful wife were invited by some friends to attend a Center for Spiritual Living. And they thought, okay, what the heck, why not? Let's go check it out. But there was a problem. You see, Bert had broken his leg, and he really didn't feel like going out on his crutches. He didn't want to hobble around and have people see him like that. So his beautiful wife went to church one Sunday, to the First Church of Religious Science, and she found a wonderful, interesting group of people and was really inspired by the minister's talk. And she went home and she said, Bert, come on, let's go. Come with me next Sunday. Come with me next Sunday. You got to check this out. And he says, I'm just not ready for that yet. So she went again. And once again, she felt totally embraced, totally welcomed, and totally inspired. And she went home and she said, Bert, you really got to come with me next weekend. So he said, all right, I'll go with you if it'll make you happy. And so off they went the next Sunday, and there he was, making his way into the church with his crutches. And the beautiful women that she had met the prior Sunday all said, oh boy, this guy really needs this place. You see, they were looking at Bert and assuming that his condition was because there was an error in his thought, because he had done something that maybe brought that on, that caused him to fall, or whatever it was that happened, that he ended up having a broken leg and maybe surgery, or whatever it is that we go through when we have conditions like that in our lives. But today I'm here to tell you that there is no error in thinking. There is only the perception of how we wish or how we choose to feel about something that happens to us. We have the free will, we have volition, the opportunity to change our thinking about it. I love the reading that Paul shared with us this morning. Viktor Frankl was actually a psychiatrist, and he was imprisoned in one of the concentration camps. But rather than succumbing to the conditions and all that he went through, he developed a whole new line of psychological theory, logotherapy. He taught us how to make meaning out of any situation, or maybe he didn't teach us that, but he helped us to discover that when we had the ability to know the reason why, that we could endure anyhow. So the invitation is to just stop. When you're in a situation that doesn't feel like it's your best life, that you can stop and choose to make meaning out of it. Why is this happening to me? What is the lesson that I have to learn from this situation? And then we have the ability to reframe it. We get to then choose how we want to feel about it. And we get to then look into it a little bit further and decide what we want to take away from it. Because there's always lessons in life. If there is a situation or a circumstance in your life to which you are struggling and you're feeling stuck, you feel like you just can't get past it, that is not freedom. That is being held into bondage of a way of thinking. And there's an opportunity to learn from it, to endure it, but to make meaning out of it and to find the lessons in it. You have the power within you to align yourself with the one mind that already knows all of the good that's unfolding in your life, even though and in spite of what you might be going through that feels very difficult. Sometimes we have to choose to turn our attention away from the cause, right? As old-timers who've been in Science of Mind for a while, and practitioners who've gone through training, we're taught that, you have to root the underlying cause, find the thought that's creating the condition. But I'm here to tell you today that sometimes you need to take a break from that. Turn away from it and look toward that which you would rather experience instead. Now, most of you here today already know this, right? You all know this? I see some heads nodding a little bit. Reverend Guy is fond of talking about washing up on the shores of religious science. I know I felt that way when I first walked into this building. Gosh, it's been almost 20 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long ago. But I want to invite each of you right now, even if this is your first time here, or if you've been here many times over many years, think back to the time that you first found yourself in a church of religious science or in a center for spiritual living. When was that? Think for a moment, how long ago was that? Where were you? Can you remember? I see some heads nodding. What was your life like? What was your life like? What were you going through? What compelled you to walk into that place? I know for me, it was out of curiosity. I lived in Fallbrook, and I saw this place that said Center for Spiritual Living. I said, I'm there, I'm on it. It was a little bit closer than Harmony Grove for me. So it was a place to go and explore, right? But what I really want to know, what I'm really curious about is, how has it changed your life since then? has it changed your life? How is this philosophy currently, today, right now, in this moment, empowering your life? How is it working? What are the blues you can use, Lee? Mike? And is there anything in your life today, in this moment right now, that you would like to do more of? That you would like to call in? That you would like to cultivate as a practice? Think about that for a moment. You got it? Okay, now turn to someone next to you and share with them, what is one thing that you would like to do right now to cultivate this philosophy in your life? Go. If you're joining us online, go ahead and take a moment to turn within and reflect. Write it in your journal if you feel like it. I hear a lot of big plans out there. I hear a lot of conviction. Some big ideas. I can't think of anything you said. Now, I've known many of you in this room for a lot of years. I think that I've been attending this Center for Spiritual Living now probably, about 16 or 17 years, Michael? Yeah, that we've been coming here. I have seen couples get together, new romance. I've seen families being started, children being born. I've seen some of you when you were little children. I've seen people going on to hospice care and have been at their bedside at the end of their life. And I've seen their loved ones go through their grief. I've seen that happen with people in their teens and people in their 90s. All people who came through those doors. I've seen a lot of life unfold. I've heard about people going through all manners of life challenges and tribulations, financial difficulties, changing jobs, all kinds of things. Sat in the room with practitioners in training and watched them go through their process, their Socratic inquiry, their path of enlightenment. It's been a beautiful journey. And my point in sharing this with you is that life continues. Last week we spoke about the Buddha. We spoke about samsara, the cycle of birth and rebirth, right? Life continues on. And some of the circumstances indelibly and permanently change us. For instance, having a child or losing a spouse. Life is different and will never be the same again. After the ceremony last week, or gathering last week, more than one person, several people in fact, approached me. One of the things that we were exploring was ways that we may have felt trapped or stuck or in a situation that felt like we just couldn't get past it, but we did. I had one person come to me and share with me that they had suffered from a very severe stroke, which led to months, years of rehabilitation. Now imagine for a moment what that would be like if your brain knows what it wants to say, but you're unable to say it. You're unable to express it. You're unable to make your needs known. What a challenge that would be. Another person shared with me their walk through the journey with cancer. I know what that feels like. I've been there. The fear, uncertainty, not knowing if the care plan is the right one, never mind the treatment that we go through, right? Surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, whatever that is. sometimes life is not easy. Sometimes it can be very difficult. There are real experiences that we have, and some of us in the room are having them right now, that will challenge us to the core. Sometimes it makes us lose our religion, doesn't it? It makes us really question what we believe in. But what I know, since I washed up on the shores of religious science, is that there really is something to this whole mind-body connection thing. Ernest Holmes knew that too, and he articulated it through all of his writings and all of the tenets of our belief. He expressed to us and taught to us that no matter what the situation was, we have the ability to grab onto some peace, ease, and grace simply by how we engage with it. Now, other scientific evidence also proves to us that there's a connection. In the most recent years, we've heard of neuroplasticity. Has anybody here ever heard of neuroplasticity? So it's the amazing power of our human organ, the brain, to actually create new neural pathways to compensate for those conditions that maybe are being challenged in our cognition or whatever else it is, maybe from a stroke. Neuroplasticity, our brains can be rewired. There's another study, maybe some of you have heard of the blue zones. Has anybody here ever heard of the blue zones? It's pretty popular now. Dan Buettner was a scientist who discovered that there's places all over the world where people live into their 100s. And he wanted to find out why. One of those places is very close to us in Loma Linda. And one of the things that he discovered, of course, was diet and exercise, right, Gary? That those things are so very important to us, taking care of this physical body. But what also came out of the studies of the blue zones is the importance of community, of having people in our life, like-minded people, people who love us and care for us unconditionally. He also emphasized the importance of faith. It doesn't matter what kind of faith. It doesn't matter if you're Buddhist or in New Thought or Christian or Jewish, but that you have a belief in something greater than yourself. Faith. And the other thing that they discovered, people in the blue zones enjoyed longevity because they had a sense of purpose. They had a sense that they were connected to something bigger than themselves, to which they were making an important contribution. The blue zones, could you imagine 100 years? So let's just think about that for a minute. 100 years is a really long time. And I know that in the past 100 years, there have been a lot of things that have happened on this planet. We're talking about world wars, natural disasters, right? All manner of incredible inventions, not to mention modern miracles in medicine. All of the things that have changed in the past 100 years. Could you imagine living that long and seeing all those changes happening? Every single day that we are on this planet, someone somewhere is creating the next greatest yet to be. Through their inventions, their innovations, their theories, they are in alignment with that one power, that one presence that we know as the goodness of the divine, which is God. And guess what? So are you. Ernest Holmes said it so beautifully when he said that the same presence that created all of this good is also creating through you. You are created in the image of the divine, whole and perfect and complete, just as you are. How you get there is another story. How you get to that place of actually experiencing it. Ernest Holmes also taught us that we believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. So we know that there's physical ailments, there's medical issues, but there's also emotional and cognitive issues, right? Ernest Holmes taught us that we know that through the power and the presence of the One, that we have the ability to heal ourselves. What we know is that rather than focusing on the negative and what is going on, that we can choose to focus on what is going right. As a chaplain, I recently had an opportunity to visit a friend who was in the hospital. And my friend is also someone who attends the Centers for Spiritual Living. And I asked him, how are you having such a marvelous attitude? Here you are in this intensive care unit, and you are so positive. What is going on? And he shared with me that he's getting through it by his use of repetitive positive affirmations. Repetitive positive affirmations and prayer. This is his spiritual practice. This is who he is. And he's actually using these tools to help him get through a very important medical situation. And because he went through this medical situation, it informed his physicians about what he needed to be fully well in his body, or what he needed to compensate for the things that were changing in his body. But it was by that modern miracle of God working through the science that created the therapies and the modern miracle of this man's consciousness that he cultivated through spiritual practice. When these two things met together, he was able to get through that experience and come out of it on the other side with an even better quality of life. How does that sound? Sounds pretty good, huh? There is freedom from releasing ourselves from the bonds of negative thinking and constantly focusing on the worst possible outcome. There is a law of reciprocity, reciprocal giving and receiving, right? So what we know is that as much as we cultivate this way of living, this way of being in our own lives, this consciousness, as we demonstrate that out in the world and bring it to others, it increases its effects, multiplied, pressed down, and flowing over. This week, I heard on the, I drive in traffic and I'm listening to the Los Angeles news, and this young guy, 24-year-old, his name is Luke Oakley. He just recently got out of the Air Force. And he didn't know what to do with himself. He was trying to find his purpose. And so he decided, well, I have this electronic unicycle. I'm going to ride it from Myrtle Beach to Santa Monica. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It took him 50 days. And last week he arrived in Myrtle Beach. And the reporter that interviewed him said, why did you do this? What was this all about for you? And Luke said, well, it started out because I just really didn't know what else to do with myself. But as I moved along and people showed up to cheer me on and support me and encourage me, I realized that it was affecting so many other people, that there was a greater purpose than my own. And he ended up raising some funds, which he gave to the Wounded Warrior Project. So, it was a win-win, right? He was able to engage with the one mind to find meaning and purpose in his own life. He was able to engage his body, mind, and spirit in doing this miraculous, marvelous journey for himself. And he ended up giving back so much more. Ernest Holmes told us, we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. The eternal givingness of life to all. So on this day, as we're gathered here right now for this common purpose of sharing our light with one another, the invitation is this: begin to seek, to see, to recognize the good in all things. All things. Begin to take pause and give thanks for it. Give thanks for it, even if it's not currently your top choice of what you want life to look like. That's tough. That takes a lot of spiritual practice. Remember that no matter what you're going through, there is a power and a presence, and it is love, and it is goodness, and it is wholeness, and it is freedom, and it is there for you to use it. And finally, generously share this. Share this with anyone else who you wish upon to have goodness in their lives. Always remember that divine presence lives within you, moves on this earth as you, and gives forth all of its goodness through you. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Caroline. We appreciate you every time. All right. Here's a little sing-along, but we'll let you start off, Michael, with a little saxophone here.
We let love wash over us. We let it be. We let love wash over us. We let it be. We let hope. We let hope wash over us. We let it be. We let light. We let light wash over us. We let it be. 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 Speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. We let life. We let life wash over us. We let it be. Back to we let love. We let love wash over us. We let it be. One more time, we let love. We let love wash over us. We let it be. Beautiful, everybody. Beautiful, as always. Heard some sopranos over there, maybe. Oh, it's Kimmy. We'll get you up here soon. Oh, and Claire. Beautiful.
That was awesome. Let's give him a round of applause again, you guys.
Jim Jones.
So beautiful.
Michael Flanders.
So beautiful. You know, and that's the thing, you know, with this place, it's just completely changed my life. I'm sure it changed everyone's lives here in this room. And I remember when I washed up on the shores of Hilltop Spiritual Center, and the effect it had on me, because this was a time when I was really trying to seek for answers, and I was like in the Catholicism, and I was like, what is this? And then I found this place, and then I saw there had the books in the bookstore of like Deepak Chopra and all the spiritual classics. And I was like, wait a minute, there's a church that talks about this stuff? I had no idea. I thought it was just like a personal practice, and I was hooked. I was like, I'm coming back, and I'm going to be here on Sunday. And then I took the classes, and then Reverend Caroline was actually my teacher on my first year of practitioner studies, and it completely revolutionized my whole life. And so we reached that point in our service where we get to give from our heart. We get to give of our financial coin from our heart. And even if you're not giving today, we can give with a prayer. And that's alone that energy that comes through from our heart, whether it's financial or simply by saying an affirmation of love for this place. And so if you're giving today, please place your gift on your heart and just know with me that this gift is a token of love. It comes forth as that place that is the truth of our being, that we are in this place of love and that all is well, regardless of what conditions we are experiencing, that we can come here every Sunday and anchor in this truth and allow this love to wash over us. And so I give thanks, I call it forth into being, and so it is. You can also give online as well. So there's an option to give online too, which that's how I give too. It's easier that way.
I always forget my wallet.
I know, right? So we have a couple announcements that we want to let everybody in on. We have a lot of things planned with Guys Sabbatical. We're planning a lot of cool things. So
And the cat's away.
Yep. Yes. Yes. So stay connected with the newsletter. It comes out every Thursday night around 7 p.m. If you haven't signed up for it, I'm sure we can get you access to the newsletter, and it goes over all the information. And we have a meditation practice that is on every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. It's a very sweet practice that I facilitate. And lastly, we have a prayer circle that is after service today, after you get some coffee and some food. We can gather and we can just pray over our experience and really just anchor what we've gained today. Yes, yes. Jim has a Sunday morning class that is on the wisdom of the Tao. And it's just a beautiful experience. I want to attend it too, because the Tao, it's at 9 to 10. The Tao is just an amazing thing. They sell the books at the bookstore. And I just saw them today. I was there today. They have all kinds of cool things in the bookstore, incense and clothes, just an amazing shop. So on your way out, please feel free to stop there. And so, yes, and the class is on every Sunday from 9 to 10. So I'm looking forward to attending that one of these days here too. So, yeah. Awesome. So let us pray out with a prayer of thanks, and so we can get going on our beautiful Sunday.
Yeah. So I'm going to stay seated so I can feel really grounded and centered in the truth of my being. And I just invite you now to turn within. And just know with me that there is a power and a presence in the universe. It is the goodness of the divine. And it does live in and as and through each and every one of us. Today I lift in prayer all those ones who are here with us in spirit, and in particular those ones who may be experiencing conditions in their life that are not very comfortable. We go ahead of them with our consciousness, lifting them up to the highest and best good that they might also experience in their lives. And we reach behind us to those ones who are coming into this way, to those ones who have yet to wash upon the shores of enlightenment, of spiritual living. And we know the truth for them, that there is a good in the universe, there is a power, and that they can use it. We know. And so blessing the remainder of our day together, I simply call it good. I leave here filled with joy. I leave here filled with love. I call it forth into being, and together we say, and so it is. Amen.
All right, here's a little classic ode to community, because I guess the science is telling us that it's what helps us live longer. So here we go. Sometimes
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if you have things you need to borrow, for no one can feel those of your needs that you won't let show. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. You just need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you don't understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share that load. If you just call me, just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you don't understand. We all need somebody to lean on. What about solo here? On me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call me, call me, call me, just call me. Give it up, Michael Flanders. So beautiful. Happy Sunday, everyone. Thanks, Jim Jones. We'll see you next week. Much love.